Do you want to know how to discipline a child with low self-esteem? I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach all over the world about parenting, good communication, how to build strong family bonds, child development, all through the lens of the principle self-government. And in this video, we're talking about self-esteem. In this video, we're going to talk first about self-esteem versus self-confidence. There is a difference between the two. It's important that we understand those things and how they are interrelated with each other. And then we're going to talk about how to correct a child so that we don't damage their self-esteem and so that they can feel empowered, maybe even develop a little bit more self-confidence. So self-esteem is how you value yourself. Do you think you are of worth? Are you a good person, a decent person? Is your life worth it? That would be self-esteem, okay? Self-confidence is, do you believe in yourself? Do you think that you can do things? Can you accomplish stuff, solve problems? Can you contribute? That is self-confidence. Self-esteem is usually talked about in a way that I don't like. So we have to ask ourselves, why are we talking about self-esteem? Is confidence the thing that we should discuss more? What do you think is more important? Many people talk about self-esteem as if it's something you can give to another person. You actually cannot give worth to another person. You can bond with the person, you can love the person, you can care for the person, you can serve the person, you can tell the person that they are amazing, but inside, you cannot actually give the person worth. I believe every person has worth, and I know that a lot of the time we figure out our worth by our experiences. So our confidence and our esteem are actually interconnected with each other. When we do a hard thing, let's say we give a speech in front of an audience and we don't usually like public speaking. That is a big undertaking, right? We have to overcome our fears. We have to step out of our comfort zone and test our bravery, and we have to plan for things and put up with some anxieties and wonder how we did afterward. There's a lot of things that are involved in that. But once we do it, we develop a little bit more confidence. Now, if we never ever do it, if we always say, I don't talk in front of people, I'm not good at that, will we ever be good at it? No. And so when we're thinking of our worth as a person, when we see somebody else who can talk in front of people, they can stand on stages and they don't seem to have a problem, we might go, oh, I'm not good at that. I wish I could do that. I'm not as valuable as a person as they are. They're probably more valuable than me. Not true. They just have more confidence because they've just stepped out of their comfort zone more times. That's really what it boils down to. So when we're talking about self-esteem versus self-confidence, it's important to recognize that when you work on your self-confidence, it ultimately ends up building self-esteem. Self-esteem is also kind of a spiritual thing. Now, I'm a spiritual person. If you've subscribed to this channel for a long period of time, then you've probably heard me mention a few spiritual things every once in a while, and you know that I'm a spiritual person. But I truly, truly believe that God loves all of his children. He loves all of his people deeply, deeper than we could even understand. I also believe that he knows our strengths, he knows our potential, and he has a plan for each of us. We have purpose for our lives. Every single person, the person that lives 1 hour, the person that lives 105 years, they all have a purpose. And it's all grand and it's all beautiful. That spiritual understanding has always helped me know I am a child of God. My parents used to sing me a song called I Am a Child of God. You can probably find it here on YouTube somewhere. Anyway, they would sing that song to me. I would sing that song. I sang it to my children. Now my children are singing it to their grandchildren. We have value. We know who we are to the other people. So being part of a family that loves you improves self-esteem. Having good relationships helps improve self-esteem because this gives you an understanding of who you are to other people. This is going to help you with your value. But then after that, actually taking some steps toward purpose Becoming a better version of yourself again and again as you do brave things improves your self-confidence and improves your self-esteem ultimately. One of the number one things to improve self-confidence is actually work. And controlling yourself is one of the greatest works that you ever do. And here we are on the channel teaching self-government, which is all about having self-control, right? When you can control yourself in a hard circumstance, you know you have power inside. And you know there's a lot more things that you can do. So how do we correct our children then? If you've already subscribed to this channel, you know I talk a lot about skills. One of the most important things that you can do if you're working with a child who has low self-esteem, maybe they have depression, maybe they have detachment in their relationships, they've been through a lot of trauma, broken relationships in families, they're struggling, and you're trying to help them understand that there is hope, but you also recognize you need to correct them sometimes, right? Then what you want to do is you want to make sure that you pre-teach them ahead of time about who you are and the why of the corrections and what you're going to be correcting too. So when I teach my children self-government, I teach them 4 basic skills of self-government. I actually have a children's book for each one of these 4 basic skills. So the 4 basic skills are following instructions, accepting no answers and criticism, accepting consequences, and disagreeing appropriately. I also teach my children my skills of self-government as a parent. So the 5 teaching styles of self-government that I teach in my TSG parenting course, which you can find at teachingselfgovernment.com. So I teach all of those things to the children ahead of time so that they know completely what I'm going to do in any circumstance. But I don't just stop there. I also talk to them about our roles and who we are to each other, what we want our relationships to be like. Once you get into the TSG parenting course, you'll see that we talk about creating a good family vision and how to get everybody on board with having a family vision for the relationships. This gives a person a sense of identity and purpose within the family. This helps them with their self-esteem. So once we establish a pathway for the whole family to go, a way to solve our problems that isn't about tearing anybody down, but it's just about skill development, no big deal. Then when we correct things, it doesn't have to feel like a personal attack. Now, does that mean that the child will always choose for it not to feel like a personal attack? No. Sometimes they could still go, I'm taking that personally, because that is their choice. But we need to make sure we have deliberate conversations with our children about taking things personally versus not taking things personally. What does it feel like? And how do we drop the subject in our own head and not keep ruminating on things that are going to be non-productive for our relationships and for ourselves? These are the kinds of self-government conversations that are going to be very healing and helpful for your child who is struggling with self-esteem. For instance, if my child knows how to accept a no answer, then they know the 4 steps to that skill, which are to look at the person or the situation, keep a calm face, voice, and body, say okay or ask to disagree appropriately, which is another skill, and then drop the subject. So we've taught them how to drop the subject. So then when a moment comes where I have to give them a no answer, I pre-teach them that a no answer is coming. Remember, these are the steps that you can use, and then they accept the no answer, usually perfectly, or disagree appropriately. But if not, then no problem, I just correct them. And I say, okay, well, just now I gave you a no answer and you didn't keep a calm face, voice, and body, or maybe you didn't drop the subject, you were whining and complaining afterward. And when you do that, this is what it does for you that's not good. And what you should have done is this. So you've earned this negative consequence, and there's certain ones that work better than others, okay? And then you let them accept that, you practice things the right way. This is how you correct them as they are moving forward in their own self-government journey, and they're able to see, okay, this isn't about me. Mom didn't talk about how I stunk because I didn't put my deodorant on, or how I had bad manners at the table and how I'm gross and people don't like to look at me. Instead, she just talked about the skill and the steps to the skill that I already know that I'm working on, and all of us know this skill and we all work on this skill. So if you can keep it narrowly focused on the skill, it doesn't have to be taken personally by anybody, parents or children, and we still solve the problems, help them learn in a way where they can see themselves growing in confidence because they're also growing in skill development. There are a lot of skills of self-government that I have just talked about here. And I know that you're probably going to need all of them because you can pick one or you can pick two, but without the full package of the skills, all of them together, you'll end up hitting a moment that you don't know what to do with. And you won't have the skills that you need to handle their out of control problems or things like that. I know it's hard when you see a child struggling with their self-worth. Bring God into it if you're a God-fearing person. Let them know how much they matter to you and to other people. Make sure that that's part of the regular of life. And that all these things you're doing are not about them personally and not about them performing or not performing, but just about them learning skills, because that's what everybody does. We learn. And if we can keep the tone like that with everything, even the corrections, then we can know with confidence that even if they struggle still with self-esteem, which could happen, because maybe they have depression or maybe they're looking at things online that are not good for them, those things could all be adding to low self-esteem. If they keep doing that and their self-esteem keeps going down, we know that what we're doing does not contribute to the low self-esteem. It's probably another factor. Maybe it's a friend, maybe it's a certain teacher at school, or maybe it's online digital stuff, and we need to start looking at what else is happening. The one thing I don't like about self-esteem is people usually assume that it happens to a person, and so they don't have any choice over it. That's not true. Even if someone is unkind, the person can say, that's not me, that's them just voicing their opinion, but I already know I have value. Their relationship with their parents and with their God is going to be the main thing that holds them strong in all of those circumstances. Let's give them the right, true things to think so they don't struggle with all the others. So what I recommend for you is to go to teachingselfgovernment.com. There's a free Calm Parenting Toolkit there that you can access. There's also additional articles and videos, and there are courses, trainings, books. Those are going to be the things that you'll probably want the most to learn all of these skills of self-government. Go to teachingselfgovernment.com. I'll see you there.